Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale trusts, along with a few other things to talk about that I think matter to significantly to the potential price appreciation of these trusts or anything crypto related. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so first thing, if you guys did not see the Bitcoin video that was just made last night, by the time you see this video, it will have been last night at roughly about 7 p.m. Central Time. I suggest that you go watch that because there was a major Bitcoin signal, reversal signal that just popped up on Bitcoin. Okay. So basically, in short, the RSI hit oversold territory. It's only done it, I think, maybe 4 times in the last year or 2 years, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's an extremely rare signal that, and I've actually also seen not just this oversold signal on the daily time frame on Bitcoin, but on a few other indicators also, which tells me, related to altcoins, which tells me that likely we are going to see some kind of push higher. So that's the first thing. The technicals just simply say that, it's time for Bitcoin to get a bounce, time for altcoins and basically anything crypto related to get a bounce. I'll show you guys once again that some of these miners just went absolutely bonkers during yesterday's trading session. You guys can see BT just went stupid. This thing's up 40%, HUD8's up 17%. So insane gains going on here, double digits for a lot of the Grayscale trusts. And the native space is starting to come back to life. So that's the first thing. The portfolios have not changed. Not showing you guys this every day as much anymore because, they got us working crazy overtime at this point, which is not really something that I want, but is kind of what it is what it is. Cuts into my schedule to be able to do this for you guys. But, until I'm able to quit full time, I just, I'm only able to do so much. So basically, you guys are seeing what's going on right here. So ETCG is still down, HZEN still down. We could buy this right now, but we're actually going to wait. So, and there's a reason for this. We're going to wait a little bit longer to get into. If we get into the Grayscale Trust, we're going to start getting into native crypto today as of the time of this posting. That's the goal, 50-50. So 50% crypto, 50% dividend paying stocks. And as we see the opportunity to get in at cheaper prices, we'll get more aggressive with our buys in crypto. But the second reason why we're holding off from Grayscale as of right now is the debates. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there is the first presidential debate coming up this week between Trump and Biden. So Trump has come out publicly endorsing Bitcoin. I don't know if you all know that, but he endorsed Bitcoin publicly. It's been recorded. It's on video, all that stuff. The former president, soon to be 2024 reelected president, is bullish on Bitcoin. He just simply came out and said he supported it. And Biden came out afterwards and said that he was supporting Bitcoin too, but only after Trump did it. You see, Biden, I'm not going to say that Biden's trying to, well, it would appear that Biden is trying to steal Trump's idea to gain supporters. This is how politics works, guys. You just simply got to understand this, okay? I understand how the left works. I understand how the right works. I understand how the libertarians work, okay? I've studied politics for a long time. I know how all this stuff works. I know how they operate, how Congress operates, all that stuff. So here's the thing that matters, okay? It doesn't matter what they say. It only matters what they do. When Trump was in office, he said he didn't like Bitcoin, but they never made any serious regulations around it. And they never actually witch hunted people in crypto. The only caveat that I can say to that is Mnuchin, when he was Secretary Treasurer, he came up with some kind of rule where I think it was if you had 2 wallets, you had to report anything over $3,000 in transactions to FinCEN or something like that, which was a stupid idea. I don't know why he did that. That was really dumb and kind of a waste of taxpayer dollars and all that jazz. But outside of that, it really wasn't a big deal. Okay. And that only happened later, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit later in Trump's presidency, but that was like a blip. That was nothing. So Biden, I'm not going to say he's responsible for the bankruptcy of FTX, but everybody saw what happened to FTX, Terra Luna, CZ, the head of Binance, going to jail, all this different stupid nonsense going on under Biden. I mean, the facts speak for themselves. So me personally, hearing Biden coming out and say, "Oh, we're bullish on crypto," like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I'm still voting for Trump because at the end of the day, their track records respectively speak for themselves. And I am more likely after seeing Trump's presidency to believe that Trump is actually going to be pro crypto and pro Bitcoin. Whereas Biden's just saying that, and if he gets elected, which he's not, but in some alternate universe that he gets elected, likely he's just going to make it even worse for crypto for the next 4 years. So yeah, everybody can believe what they want about it, but like I said, the facts speak for themselves. So the point I want to make here about the politics do matter when it comes to finance. Believe it or not, it matters a great deal. A lot of these really wealthy people, billionaires, institutions, news media outlets, even small time donations, small time donors. You guys can look up this stuff in your own time, but they all donate to these campaigns, to these candidates, to help them do their campaign to become president, because it costs money to go around the country and campaign for people. It just simply does. So finance and politics are directly intertwined, whether y'all want to accept that or not. So the point I want to make here is that the first national live debate that you can actually watch, that we can all watch, right? It's going to happen this week. So that's June 27th. That's 2 days from now. Well, 2 days as of the time of this recording. By the time you guys see this, it'll be roughly about a day and a half from that point, but it's going to begin at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, adjust your respective times accordingly, whether you're on Mountain Time, Central Time, or West Coast Time. But I unfortunately will not be able to watch this at the time that it happens. I won't be able to watch the entire thing at the time that it happens because I'll most likely be working. But if I wasn't, I certainly would be watching it. As a matter of fact, I'd probably just live stream it with you guys. So that's the thing I want to point out about that. And that is another reason why I'm holding off from, I should say we're holding off from getting involved in the crypto Grayscale trusts. So let's get into the actual charts here. Okay, so go down to the daily time frame. Weekly, we already covered this in the previous video, so we're going to do dailies on this one. So we're still above this macro trend line, but below this kind of smaller trend line. I mean, it's not real small, but it's small compared to this one. So we're hitting an apex point, okay? So it can only squeeze in between these two lines so much before eventually it has to make a decision. That decision is roughly about July 2nd. I don't know what's significant about July 2nd, but that is the apex of this move. So it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. The other thing I want to point out here about this is we do have this thing hitting oversold on LTCN. Last time we saw this, I can actually zoom out here. Last time we saw this, y'all, it was way back here in August 2023. This was not quite at the lows, but pretty close. LTCN was roughly about $3-4 at that point in time. And then it would go on to rally up to $20, so roughly about a 6x, pull back to $9, and then do another 6x all the way up to $54. So the total move from $3 to, or I should say $4 to about $54. I mean, that's I don't know exactly what you would call that. That's like a 13x, 13.5x. So, I mean, I wouldn't usually measure a move like this, but let's say it does do another 13.5x from being oversold. You'd be looking at a $247 LTCN, which, I mean, there's a lot of price action traded roughly between $250 to $500, so that could be significant. I don't really think so personally on a technical level, but it could matter in the end ultimately. So BCHG recently coming off oversold too, as you guys can see right here. So we hit the support, kind of bobbed around, and you guys can see that we're not quite perfectly coming into the apex of the move yet, but it's getting pretty close. So last time we were oversold way back here was pretty much the bear market lows. So BCHG was pennies on the dollar. It was like 25 cents or something like that. I can actually zoom in here with y'all and take a look at this. So yeah, it was, looks like at the low, it was about 32 cents. So it was pretty cheap compared to what it is now. So do understand that there is that risk there. I mean, a lot of these altcoin related things, when they go down in a bear market, they go down 90 to 99%. So understand that risk. But in terms of the apex move, I mean, this thing is set to apex at roughly about July 5th, July 8th, somewhere in there. So it's going to range in between support and resistance. So this resistance line, the support zone, at that point, it has to make a move. Okay. It either has to go up or it has to go down. I would say based on the oversold indicator, likely it's probably more likely going to go up than down. How much it goes up exactly, I don't know. So HZEN, very similar thing here. So we got an oversold signal back here. When this happened, it pretty much bounced immediately off of support at that time, went up 80%, as you guys can see. So we have another, not perfectly oversold, but pretty close to oversold signal going on here. The thing that I could point out here too is we kind of have, so it's not going to be exactly perfect, but we have this kind of downtrend line here, which obviously is not going to add up on this time frame. It's for the weekly time frame, but we also have a kind of a slightly higher high here on the RSI, which indicates some level of bullish divergence. So that could also be kind of like a sneaky way to for the markets to hide that there may be a reversal coming to the upside. Again, nothing's a guarantee. So this one, not really so much having an apex of a move. So we would need to see like a squeeze between the trend line and the support, but this has flipped into resistance. So I would say likely, again, if it does pull back, it's going to pull back to the support zone between about 250 to 290. Of course, you have your swing high up there at 1050. So not really much going on here in ETCG. I mean, I will reiterate once again that somewhere along these lows at 1150 is likely going to be the bottom. I mean, it could it go lower than that? Yeah, sure, it's possible. It's also possible we could be creating some kind of W pattern here. So for those of you guys that don't know, a W pattern is a bullish pattern. As you guys can see, we actually did get one here as well. So it may not be so obvious, but we got one right here. Usually W patterns are very, very bullish patterns. They indicate massive price action, whereas the M pattern is the exact opposite. So it's basically just looks like an M, something like this, which indicates bearishness. So this right here could be the bottom of the W pattern. That's also something I want to point out. And I don't know exactly what the technical target is for W pattern. I mean, I could theoretically say it's the top of the move, but the top of the move would be all the way up here at $19. Regardless, that is the swing high, so you can do what you want with that. ETH. So as you guys know, we had a breakout of the cup and handle. It clearly was confirmed. I mean, I really have to zoom out to show you guys this thing. So big, huge cup and handle, and then boom, pop to the upside. So the handle piece, or the handle target, I should say, is pretty much at the all-time highs. In terms of technical patterns, that's roughly just shy of $47. In terms of any other patterns here, I mean, there was a potential bull flag going on here, but it kind of got negated. So if I go over to the weekly time frame, you guys can see that there was like some kind of, it looked a little while, like for a couple of weeks, like there was going to be some kind of bull flag, but then the SEC was dragging their feet apparently. And I was of the impression that as soon as they came out with the basically saying, okay, people, we're going to approve the spot ETFs, we're going to approve them, right? I was assuming immediately after that they were going to get listed like a couple of weeks later. But for some reason, there's a delay. I don't know why. So regardless, if they approved it, they have to list it, okay? They can't backtrack on the word at this point because that's going to make them look really stupid and bad in the public eyes. And that's going to be a lot worse for Biden's campaign. And, a lot of these people in positions of power were placed there by the Biden administration. So, Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, just a bunch of different people in a bunch of different positions in government are placed there based on their party affiliation. That's usually how it goes. That's been the experience that I've witnessed over time. So, Again, just potentially looking for a pullback here into support. I think that's likely going to happen. The indicators are pretty normal right now. They don't look either extreme one way or the other. Phil G. So again, inverse head and shoulders pattern forming here. If it's not so obvious what I'm talking about, I'll draw it out for you guys here. So you got basically there's your left shoulder, head, and then theoretically this would be the right shoulder, which would give us a breakout. Basically above this trend line is what we'd be looking for. So you got your left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Basically, that's a bullish pattern. Okay. And I do also want to point out that there is a possibility for a bullish divergence here as well. So the price was going down. Well, technically it was actually going up from back here. But see, the thing is, we have what looks to be like a slightly higher low on the RSI. However, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the current price is neither below this level or above this level, which means we have not yet had a structure change. What this means basically is that it has not confirmed a bull trend, which means that technically this thing is still in a bear trend until it gets above 146. Okay, if we get a candle close above that on the daily or the weekly, that could indicate potential structure change because, again, instead of going for lower lows and lower highs, now we have a low, high, higher low, and then at some point in the future, higher high, which means this is bullish divergence, and it could still technically play out bullish in the coming days and weeks. GBAT oversold. We saw it once back here. As you guys can see, this thing flew off the handle to the upside. So last time we got the oversold signal, it was 220% move from $6. If you can believe that, not even that long ago, all the way up to $20. So massive move there. And there was only one other time previously within the last year that we saw this, and that was back in June of last year. So last year in June, this thing was at 88 cents. God, I wish I had bought back then. So it was at 88 cents, and as you guys know, it absolutely destroyed to the upside. So this thing did like a 30x. So again, there is that oversold signal. You guys can do what you want to with that. Not seeing any real technical patterns here. I mean, I would be able to say that this is some kind of bump and run, but the problem with this bump and run is we just haven't seen the breakout yet. So not really much going on GLIV. The only thing I can say is, once again, we have what appears to be some kind of inverse head and shoulders pattern. How exactly that plays out, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. So G-Link, this thing is in Chop City. There's not really much going on, nothing on the oversold territory. It's literally been ages since we've been oversold. We haven't actually even seen oversold on this thing since the bear market lows. So there could be room to come down. As I've said before in previous videos on the weekly time frame, likely it's going to come back down somewhere into the support. It might just tap the top of the support range like it did this time here and then bounce. That's always possible. So GSOL, this thing on the daily time frame has had a golden cross on the RSI, although it's not oversold. So there is that. Last time this thing was oversold was back here in May of 2023. So as you guys can see, it's been eons since it's been down there. But even though there's a golden cross, it's still below the EMAs. We would ideally like to see this get above the EMAs before it confirms that it's going to move higher. GXLM, you're about to have a golden cross here on the MACD, so that could be a potential reversal signal. Again, we had one before here, as you guys can see. See if I can find it. So right here, right about here at this swing low, and then it moved up roughly about 60% from that point. So last time we had the RSI oversold was in August of 2023. I think you guys pretty much know what happened there. It went from $13 to $69. So almost, what is that, like a 5.5x, something like that. So Mana, it's getting pretty close to oversold. It's in support. I mean, that, like I said, that's a pretty good signal in my opinion to at least start DCAing in. Of course, it's your guys' money. You can do what you want. So last time we saw this oversold signal was way back here in August, similar to Bitcoin. Went from $3 all the way up to $70. So a massive, massive, what is that, like a 23x, I think? Huge, huge move. And last but not least, Zcash. So it does appear that we do have a golden cross on the daily time frame, although I take the daily time frame golden crosses on the RSI with a grain of salt. I would give a little bit more weighting to them being oversold, because when they're oversold, usually that indicates a major swing bottom. As you guys can see here, 150. The move wasn't immediate, but it went up roughly about an 8x from the lows to the highs at some point in the future. So again, when looking at technicals, a golden cross in the daily time frame, not such a big deal on the RSI. MACD is kind of a big deal, but not so much the RSI. But being oversold on the RSI, that's a big deal. So anyways, this is the Grayscale Trusts. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.